Hey, we back. Have more Mudae guide tutorial thingy. The last one did really well, which surprised me. As pathetic as it sounds, it's got like 80 views. Huge stonks. Um, anyway, I'm very happy with that, and I did mention turning it into like a mini series. That's definitely going to happen. So we got another one here. I thought since we did kakera, the next logical step would be badges. So we have our badges here. These, obviously I've got them all maxed on here. This is what they all do. If you weren't sure, have a look at that. This is the thing that you want for most of them, although not always. Now I'm thinking this might be a little more mathsy, but hopefully not too much. I'll try and not do maths, and hopefully it's a bit shorter than the other one because I waffled for a lot in the other one. So let's get right into it. Again, we'll start from the bottom. So where do you start when you're in a new server? These three badges, Sapphire, Ruby, and Emerald, are locked. You have to get them with this. The bonus 2 badges, level 4, unlocking all of them is the one that we want to go for. Especially with this one, you do not want to get badges to level 3 and then not get level 4. It's the worst possible thing because the level 4 bonus is the best bit about most badges. So we've got bronze, silver, and gold, don't we, at the start? If we have a look at these, I'll go through and explain what you should be looking at when you look at this. First, bronze, we get a wish list slot. That's useless. Okay, a lot of people like wishes, they think wish list slot, or an extra wish, that's going to be great. No. At this point in the game, wishes do nothing. The only exception is toggle snipe. Toggle snipe, if I'm bringing that up. If you've got something like toggle snipe 4, when someone rolls a wish character, this character can't be sniped for 8 seconds except for people wishing the character. Then wishes are useful, because then you get extra snipes, basically. You get 3 snipes. You can just wish all the top characters, and then whoever rolls them, you get them, unless someone else has wished them or you're not on, obviously. But theoretically, you get them. It's great. But most will not have this. They'll have like default, or they might have toggle snipe 2, in which case wishes don't help you, or whatever, right? But if they have a wish-based toggle snipe, then wishes are useful. This doesn't make bronze much better, but it means it's not completely useless, because at this point in the game, it is completely useless. Wishes ping, right? This is great, but most of the time, if you're not on Discord, by the time you get the ping, it would have been claimed anyway. So who cares? And if you are on Discord, then yeah, theoretically you could swap over to the channel and claim, but if people are sniping, even swapping over to the channel, you're not going to be fast enough, you're going to miss it. The only way that realistically you can guarantee getting a wish is if you're already there. And if you're already there, you don't need a ping. So, bronze not particularly useful. Even though it's the cheapest badge, the best thing about bronze, ironically, is getting it to bronze 4 and unlocking the other badges. Right, we'll get to that in a minute. Silver, slightly more useful. It does literally do something. But we have to think about this number carefully. This is not getting a 25% chance of rolling a wish. That would be ridiculous. 25% plus chance. Now, at the moment, there are, about 55,000 characters in the bot? 59,000 characters in the bot. My bad, it's gone up again. 59,000 characters. That means without things like disables and role types and wishes and all the rest of it, you have a 1 in about 60,000 chance of rolling your wish. Silver increases that chance from a 1 in 60,000 to a 1 in 45,000. That's not that great, you know? It's not actually 1 in 45,000, this is why I say it's mathsy. But the point is it doesn't give you like a good chance of rolling a wish, not at all. As it says, 100% plus means wishes appear twice more. So even if you max out silver, chances of rolling a wish, 1 in 30,000. That's not great. This does not help. Right, again, 2,000 is cheap, but this is useless. Do not get silver. Gold, on the other hand, gold is good. Gold is arguably the best badge in the game. I would say sapphire probably better, and emerald 1 is by far the best, but the rest of them will suck, so we'll get to that. But 10% kakera power reduction is really good. At the start, it doesn't make too much difference. 100% down to 90%. What it is pretty good is you can go over, which is quite helpful. Over your maximum react, right? So you can store up to 90%, and then you don't have to react right away to be optimal. You could just go up to 95%, then react, and you haven't wasted any power. So that's pretty good. And then as it goes up, you get more and more reacts. Once you get it to max, you have 60% react power, because max is 4, obviously, so 100 take 4, well, 40, 60. And that means you can react every 3 hours instead of every 5 hours. A significant increase, for sure. And by the time you've maxed out gold, probably there were enough brains in the server to actually be using that effect, which is good. The other good thing about it is this: daily kakera fully restores your kakera react power. Now, on average, at this point in the game, when you are maxing out gold, you probably are on average taking a turquoise kakera. Sometimes you'll get green, sometimes you'll be forced to take a blue, whatever. But you should be getting a turquoise at least every time. And so, on average, it's a turquoise. As long as you're not forced to take a blue, it's a turquoise. Turquoise, on average, is worth 200 kakera. So, if you've got max gold, you're at 60% react power. Daily kakera is going to give you 100% if you're optimal with it, which I explained in the last video. And then this means that your gold 4 is getting you 1.5 reacts, which is about 300 kakera per day extra. That's not bad at the start of the game. It's not great, but I mean, it's more than double what daily kakera is normally worth anyway, so that's pretty good. And then, of course, you get your react power as well, so yeah, gold 4, good badge. And later on, when you get sapphire, gold gets even better. So, at this point, you have your gold 4, what do you do next? I've said bronze and silver are rubbish. How do you unlock more badges? Well, of course, you do need to get bronze and silver. So your next step is to get bronze and silver 1. Bronze 1 and silver 1. And this unlocks sapphire. It only costs you 3,000. It's a bit of a waste, but you can't progress without it, so let's just go with it. Then you unlock sapphire. You max out sapphire as well. Sapphire is epic. 1 roll per level is not bad. It's certainly worth having. It's a bit pricey for the rolls, to be fair. Sapphire 4 is going to cost you 20,000 kakera, and just for that 1 roll, not great. But 1 roll is useful, that's for sure. Obviously, it's better and worse depending on the normal rolls on the server. If you've got a minimum roll server with only 2 rolls per hour, then Sapphire is OP. You need to rush it even harder. I might even suggest doing bronze 1, silver 1, gold 1, and then Sapphire 4. Who knows? But no server does that. Most of your servers are going to have max rolls at 13 or whatever the hell it is when Mudae sorts out its message limit issues, but that's a whole different story. On average, Sapphire is going to be reasonably helpful. However, this is just like, it's basically the best effect in the game. Blue kakera are replaced by yellow kakera. This means, I said before, you are on average taking turquoise kakeras. That's worth 200. Yellow kakera worth, on average, 450. Blue kakera are the most common, so once you get this effect, you take yellow kakera and above. You never have to take turquoise, green, or blue ever again. Right? Yellow or above. Every single react. It's beautiful. And that's 450 kakera. Before you were getting 200, now you're getting 450. That's a 150% increase in kakera gain. And of course, you do get your rolls as well. It's huge. Sapphire 4 is the turning point. Once you reach Sapphire 4, the other badges are easy. Gold 4 and Sapphire 4 together are insane. This is the other point about your DK getting better, because then I'll get to Ruby in a sec, but once you've got Ruby as well, your react power is 40%. Makes your DK worth 2.5 reacts. 2.5 reacts times 450 kakera, as I said in the last video, that's about 1,000 kakera per day extra. Just from your gold 4 bones. That is great, especially at this point in the game. You've only maxed out 2 badges, right? And with just those 2, it's going to be like 700 kakera, 800 kakera-ish per day. Spicy, very nice. This is what makes Gold 4 and Sapphire 4 so good together. Combined with Perth Rare 1 as well, you're going to be getting plenty of reacts to satisfy them. They're all going to be yellow. It's a lot of kakera. For an example of this I recently got this stuff. Sapphire, if we look at, say, from me, and I say Sapphire, and what have we got? Mans. So, I got my first Sapphire on the 21st of December. I got my second Sapphire 5 days later. My third Sapphire, that was a whole, 10 days later, because of course they're getting more expensive. My last Sapphire, another 10 days later-ish. And then my first Ruby, 5 days later. Second Ruby, another 5. Third Ruby, that took a bit longer. And then fourth Ruby, look at that, 3 days between Ruby 3 and 4. 3 days. That's Ruby 4. That's so much more expensive than all of the Sapphire badges. And it took me 3 days to get that last one. This is because Ruby 3 is also really good. But the difference is huge, right? And that's mostly Sapphire 4 and Gold 4. But Ruby is also great, which we will move on to now. So Ruby, your first one, it's basically just all the other badges. You get 2 wishlist slots. We've discussed wishlist slots, they're useless until super late on. At this point they're doing something because you do have your silver, but they're still not great. 50% wish chance, I mean, you know, it's better than silver, but it's not much. For reference, each Ruby level costs the same amount as the equivalent 3 and 4. So Ruby 1 is Bronze 3 and 4. Ruby 2 is Silver 3 and 4. So this is basically, you bought Silver 3 and 4, congrats. Like, it's a bit trash, right? This is buying Gold 3 and 4. It's expensive. Gold 3 and 4 are not cheap, but the more gold badges you can get, the better, because gold is OP, so this is fantastic. And because by the time you get this, you're at 60% power, this brings you down to 40%. This is a react every 2 hours. You can store 2.5 reacts in one go. It means you get on in the morning, you can do 2 reacts instantly, right? It's fantastic. And of course, you have your Sapphire 4, so those reacts are 450 kakera each. And then plus 2 rolls. You know, we discussed rolls, they're reasonable, it's worth having. But you also get this, all badge levels cost minus 25%. This is really good. A lot of people will just try to rush Ruby. A lot of people that say they know what they're doing, they will advise you to just rush Ruby because of this. And it is more efficient to do that. Absolutely, that's obviously the most efficient thing to do. But you don't gain much kakera while you're doing it, and buying all of the Ruby badges without Gold and Sapphire is going to be hell. That's going to take forever. And all it shaves off is 25%. So I do not recommend doing that. It's not bad as strategies go. It's certainly better than what most people do, but no, don't do that. But yes, this is certainly a good badge. Now, once you get this, what you need to do at this point is you pester your server admin to give you a badge refund, which I'm pretty sure we talked about in the last video, so I won't go over it too much. But at this point, you refund your badges, then you re-buy them in order: Bronze 2, Silver 2, Gold 2, Ruby 4, Sapphire 4, Gold 4. Right? Because you will have enough kakera to do that, trust me, once you get to that point. and you gain a free bronze 2 badge, a free silver 2 badge, and some other kakera that you can spend on whatever. And this is great, right? So yeah, it's just free kakera because it'll refund the amount that you spent, and then you buy them for cheap, right? So that's what you want to do. If they don't let you do it, then you're sad. But yes. And then finally, we move on to Emerald. Emerald 1 is the best badge in the game. It gives you RT, which basically is free claim. If you know what those are, you probably should, but I realise they're not given to new servers now, so maybe not. But it's basically a free claim. You know, it's in the name. You use it, it resets your claim timer. You can just claim. You didn't have a claim before you used it. After you used it, you do. RT is good. And it unlocks it. It has a cooldown of 50 hours originally, but, you know. By the way, I did not do this chronologically. Emerald 1 you buy before Ruby, because it's just the best. Once you bought Gold 4 and Sapphire 4, you have unlocked Emerald, because that's your 2-4 badges, right? Bonus 2-4 badges. You've got Gold 4 and Sapphire 4. Buy Emerald 1. Don't buy the rest of Emerald. The rest of Emerald is trash. But buy Emerald 1, then get Ruby 4, right? So, yeah, but Emerald 1's great. 9,000 is expensive, but it's at least cheaper than the rest of the Emerald badges, and cheaper than some of these later ones as well. So, yeah, it's alright. And like I say, RT is OP. It gives you a little safety net when you're rolling. It means you can claim someone, and then if you made a mess up and you roll someone better than who you claimed or whatever, you can still get them. Right, so that's nice. Every couple of days, yeah, sure. The rest of the Emerald badges are garbage. Emerald 3, in my opinion, is the worst badge in the game, because the rest of the Emerald badges, minus 10 hours per level after the first one, of the cooldown. So I said the cooldown is 50 hours. When you've got Emerald 2, it's 40 hours. Like, who really cares? It costs double the amount that it does to unlock it, and all it does is make it a fifth better. And that's kind of trash. And the next one's even worse. You know, it makes it a quarter better instead, I suppose. Another 10 hours off. But then it costs 27,000. That's more than every other badge except for Ruby 4. But all it does is knock 10 hours after your RT cooldown. You know, like, no, that's trash. You're spending so much. Even bronze, which is literally useless. At this point in the game, it's doing something because you have the silver and your Ruby 2, I suppose. But even bronze at the start of the game, it at least unlocks the other badges with bronze 4 if you want. Emerald 3 just costs you 27,000 capital. Like, it's garbage. But sure, there you go. It is what it is, because Emerald 4 is pretty damn good. Of course, it costs 36,000 kakera. Mine, by this point, you have Ruby 4, so it doesn't actually. It costs 25% less, but whatever. So it is the most expensive, but Emerald 4 bonus is pretty good. Each claim also gives you the kakera value of the character. This means if you claim like 0-2, free 1,000 kakera. It also means that, let's say you've got your bronze 4, you claim 0-2, reasonable amount into the server. She's worth maybe 1,500. You get 1,500 from Emerald 4, 500 from Bronze 4, and of course you still have 0-2, which is worth another 1,500. That's a 3,500 kakera claim. It's not difficult to get 0-2 up to 1,000 kakera worth. If I check on here, sorry, 1,500. She's almost 2,500. And this is just me as well. This is just me, right? Got up to 2,500. If I claim 0-2 now, with a wish and with Emerald 4, that would be worth almost 5,500 kakera. That's a big claim. So yeah, Emerald 4 is good. It doesn't help too much with the lower ones, but it's a couple of hundred extra kakera every 3 hours if you're lucky, you know. So that's pretty good. It certainly adds up, and over the course of the day, you're probably getting 1,000 kakera or so just because of this, which is great. It's great. It's not worth 36,000 or whatever it is with minus 25%, but it's pretty good. So yeah, Emerald 4 is good, and you do get the -10 hours too, which by this point is a third of your total cooldown, down to 20 hours. So 20 hours cooldown is pretty nice. Once per day instead of once per 2 days, you know. So yeah, there you go. One thing I didn't go over is Bronze 4 and Silver 4. They're both pretty useless again. You earn an extra 500 kakera when you claim a character on your wish list, and 200 kakera when someone else claims them. It's just free kakera. Wishes aren't going to spawn that often, let's be real. Not that often. So it doesn't matter too much, but it's worth having. Wish K is something that you can use if you like. Gives you a little bonus of kakera, doesn't ping you. This can also be used to kind of private your wish list. If you actually want to private it, that is a command anyway. Check that out, I'm sure. But if you're not bothered to actually private it, but you want people not to be claiming your wishes for you because you think it's not going to be possible to trade them, perhaps, then using Wish K is reasonable. Yeah, you should get Bronze 4 and Silver 4 after you've got Ruby 4, but before Emerald 2, because even Bronze 4 and Silver 4 are better than Emerald 2 and 3, right? So yeah, your total order, if I'm cool, I'll bring up a crappy looking visual. You get Gold 1 to 4, then Bronze 1, then Silver 1, then Sapphire 1 to 4, then Ruby 1 to 4, or 1 to 3 if you're feeling risky. Then you ask for a kakera refund. Then you buy Bronze 2, Silver 2, Gold 2, Ruby 4, Sapphire 4, Gold 4, Emerald 1. Then you get Bronze 4, Silver 4, well, 3 and 4 both, and then Emerald 2 to 4. Then you max them out. Then it's on to kakera loops, which is a different story, and maybe I'll do a video on them, but maybe not. There's not really too much to talk about, but we'll see. Yeah, that's it. That's the order that I think you should buy them in anyway. Obviously, it's just my opinion, but I've got a lot of evidence to back that up given how many servers I'm in. It generally works well for me, and mathematically speaking, I think it's the best thing to do. There you go, badges. We spent ages just looking at this one command. Fantastic. I probably waffled a lot again. Less than last time though, so that's great. Yeah, we'll cut this here, because I don't want it to be that long. And yeah, on to the next guide in a couple of days probably. Bye!